Or search for WUSA9. You can also have access to our interactive radar as well.
Breaking news tonight, Turkey and the world reeling from another deadly terrorist attack. This time, dozens killed by suicide bombers at the airport in Istanbul. That's one of the busiest in the world. Now, the deaths from this attack continue to rise as the investigation into who did this, how, and why ramps up.
We've got live team coverage tonight. WUSA9's Ellison Barber is live at Dulles Airport, where passengers are waiting to take off on the next flight to Istanbul. But we begin with Garrett Haake, who's been following this story all day. And Garrett, you've spent some considerable time in this airport. Can you tell us more about where all this took place?
Yeah, absolutely. Turkish officials say the attackers were targeting the international terminal here at Ataturk Airport. It's one of the busiest airports, one of the busiest terminals in the world. And they pulled up down here just outside the airport, the same place where passengers would get dropped off. They arrived in a regular yellow cab and began their assault. The three bombers threw hand grenades and opened fire with automatic weapons outside a small security checkpoint, sources tell CBS News. Passengers ran for safety or hid deep in the airport as the attackers moved through it. A security camera in the terminal captures what appeared to be the first bomber's detonation. A second camera shows panicked passengers fleeing, then another explosion. People were wounded. People fell down in front of me. 4 people fell down in front of me, this airport worker says. They were torn into pieces. Yet another security camera recorded the most graphic and disturbing footage. In it, we see a security officer shoot one of the attackers, who then falls to the ground, dropping his weapon. People scatter, and after a few moments, the apparently wounded terrorist detonates his suicide bomb. Emergency crews raced to the airport, where they discovered a bloody and chaotic scene of injured and terrified people running for their lives.
Bugün İstanbul, Ataturk.
By the time Turkey's prime minister arrived at the airport to brief reporters in the pre-dawn hours, the death toll had risen to 36, with 146 known wounded. The prime minister telling reporters the initial signs point to this as an ISIS attack. Just yesterday, the U.S. State Department renewed its travel advisory to Turkey, warning of an increased threat from terrorists there. Both ISIS and some Kurdish terror groups having threatened to strike at the heart of Turkish society.
That's exactly what they've done, at least in this moment, with this attack on the Istanbul airport, a key site for the Turkish people.
And tonight, still no official claim of responsibility for this attack, but the similarities alone to the ISIS attack in Brussels, which also took place outside the main security checkpoint, are difficult to ignore. Reporting live, Garrett Haake, WUSA 9.
All right, Garrett, and Istanbul operates the 11th busiest airport in the world. Over 61 million people came through that airport last year.
And now in the D.C. area, Turkish Airlines operates direct flights to and from the Ataturk Airport. And one of their flights is supposed to leave Dulles any minute. But a lot of travelers aren't sure if it actually will. WUSA 9's Ellison Barber live for us at the airline's check-in terminal. So Ellison, tell us, how does it look?
Well, guys, passengers boarded that flight and it is set to take off any minute. About an hour ago, the FAA lifted the ground stop for flights coming to and from the Istanbul airport. But when passengers arrived here today and went to this ticket counter, most of them had very little information.
We heard that the Turkish airport was closed right now.
There's 2 airports, so I guess it's one that we normally go to is okay.
Probably it's going to be delayed.
I'm looking at the sign over there. It says check in at 7:20, so we'll find out.
As the death toll rose and more people learned about what happened in Istanbul, scheduled trips became uncertain. Some passengers said they arrived for Turkish flight number 8 early, expecting heavy security. Others simply hoped to take off.
Nothing.
Across the world, passengers flying through Istanbul faced the same level of uncertainty.
I'm in Odessa, Ukraine, where I'm scheduled for a 10:20 a.m. flight connecting in Istanbul. I don't think I'm going to have my flight tomorrow. I think I'm kind of stuck.
Numerous reports say flights heading to the Istanbul airport are suspended and instead diverting to nearby airports. The FAA issued a ground stop for all U.S. flights coming to and from the city. The Istanbul airport tweeted about it. Turkish Airlines did not. and they didn't respond to our request for comment.
We're kind of left in the dark at this point. I mean, I think everybody here is a little confused.
For now, most of the travelers we spoke to are simply grateful that chance kept them safe.
This world now, it's not safe wherever you are. It's going to happen randomly. I mean, who expected Brussels or Paris?
And they say even in the midst of horror, they'll find hope.
Turkish national anthem actually starts with korkma, means don't be afraid.
Security is often high at this airport. We did notice some heavily armed police officers walking through this section of the terminal, but nothing too far out of the ordinary. Reporting live at Dulles Airport, I'm Ellison Barber, WUSA9.
All right, Ellison, and WUSA9 will be on top of all the latest developments in this breaking story over the next crucial hours in the investigation. Stay informed.